Are you interested in filing for U.S. citizenship and you're completely confused or uncertain about when you can actually file that U.S. citizenship application? Well, in this video, I'm going to take you through exactly when you can file, the options of when you can file, and the good news is you can even file earlier than you think. Hi, and thank you for joining me to talk immigration. My name is Andrea Szew, if you don't know me already, and I am a U.S. immigration attorney that have been doing this for over 20 years. I've created this YouTube channel to give you clear, concise, and easy to understand information about all different topics related to U.S. immigration. But in this video, I'm going to go through with you when you could actually file for U.S. citizenship. So many people are confused about what is the actual timeline of when I can begin the application process. Well, I'm going to go through with you and make it really clear and really simple when you can actually mail in your U.S. citizenship application. Here we go. Alrighty, well, before we begin, if you are interested in filing for citizenship and you don't necessarily want to hire a U.S. immigration attorney to help you do it because the cost is pretty pricey, I have just released a new course on my Szew Law University that will walk you through step by step. In fact, I will walk you through step by step in 11 lessons of how to file for U.S. citizenship all by yourself. So it's going to be a fraction of the cost, and you can do it all by yourself at your own pace. And I will be there by the whole process, through the whole entire process, to help you get it filed correctly and accurately so you'll have your U.S. citizenship in no time. So check it out. The link is below. Don't miss it. It's going to be really great, and you're going to get your application filed, and you're going to do it all by yourself. Now, let's discuss in this video what is the timeline for you to actually file for U.S. citizenship. Now, it is super important that you understand when you can file, because what happens if you file too early? They reject your application, they send it back to you. And you don't want that happening, because you're going to do all the work to put it together, and then it's going to end up right back at your doorstep. Or if you file online, it's going to be rejected. So it's super important that you actually know when can you actually mail off your citizenship application or hit that submit button online to get it filed. There's usually two options, either 3 years from when you become a permanent resident or 5 years from when you become a permanent resident. First of all, 3 years. 3 years becoming a permanent resident if you are married to a U.S. citizen. If you are married to a U.S. citizen, then you can file within 3 years of becoming a permanent resident. Now, remember, no matter what, you have to also meet all the other requirements of filing for citizenship in the U.S. It's not just the fact that you were married to a U.S. citizen for 3 years, you get to file. Make sure you meet all the continuous residence requirements and all that other stuff. And I go through all that in that course if you want to get all those details. But make sure you meet all the requirements, not just this. I'm just talking in this video about when you can file, but you must meet all the requirements, so don't miss that. So if you're married to a U.S. citizen, you're filing under that category, then it's 3 years from becoming a permanent resident. On your U.S. permanent resident card, it will say resident since. That's the date you're going to use. Not the date that you started the application for residency, but the actual date that says resident since on your permanent resident card. That is 3 years. Now, 5 years is almost everybody else. Everybody after becoming a permanent resident for 5 years can file for citizenship in the United States. Remember again, I can't stress it enough, you have to meet all the requirements. You can't be a resident for 5 years and have lived in Europe for 8 months of every year for the last 5 years. You have to have been in the U.S. physical presence. You have to have connections to the U.S. You have to be dedicated, filed your taxes, doing all those kinds of things, not commit any criminal acts. All that kind of stuff you have to qualify for. But if you are a permanent resident for 5 years and you meet all the other requirements, then you can file for residency after 5 years. And again, remember that is the date that is on your permanent resident card under resident since. Now, the good news is that you can even file before the 3 years or the 5 years. If you can file before the 3 years or 5 years, that's even more amazing. You can file within 90 days of your 3-year or 5-year residency or qualification, right? So if you were going to file under the U.S. citizen option, that I'm married to a U.S. citizen, and you're going to file within 3 years, you can actually file 90 days before that 3-year anniversary, which is great, right? So you can actually get a head start on the process. Besides waiting until that exact date, you can actually do it 90 days before. Same thing for if you're filing under the 5-year requirement. You can do it 90 days before that 5 years happens. So online at USCIS, I'll put the link below too. There is actually a calculator that they provide you that you can put in the information and they'll tell you when you can qualify to apply. So if you want to know an exact date based on your information, then you can go online and use that USCIS calculator. And I'll put, of course, the link below. And you can figure out yourself the exact date when you can go and qualify to file for U.S. citizenship. Now, again, I'm going to say it again. Make sure, though, you meet all the other qualifications before you file. It's not just about how long you've been a permanent resident. It's about making sure that you have those connections and the qualifications necessary to get that U.S. citizenship approved. Okay? And again, if you want help and you want to do it yourself, please check out that course. It goes through everything. I go through every single question on the N400 application. I give you checklists. I give you pointers. I give you all my experience of doing this for over 20 years, getting lots and lots of people their U.S. citizenship. And I give it all to you for a very, very low cost. So you can do it with an attorney without having to pay those very high legal fees. So I hope to see you in that course. Take a quick look down below. Now, I hope this clarifies the options of when you can file for U.S. citizenship. 3 years, 5 years, and don't forget, you can file 90 days before, within 90 days before either of those time periods. Just make sure you meet all the qualifications. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got the information clearly and easily and very simplistically of when you can file. Please join me for other videos in the future. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and look forward to seeing you in my next video.